For a long time, the story of Alzheimer's disease seemed dominated by two villains, amyloid plaques and tau tangles. These sticky proteins filled the spotlight while everything else was considered background noise. Fat in the brain, for example, was largely ignored, treated as a harmless byproduct of degeneration. But new work from Purdue University turns that old thinking upside down. Their findings, published in Immunity, show that fat buildup inside the brain's immune cells, called microglia, doesn't just tag along for the ride, it actively weakens the brain's defenses. And here's the hopeful part. When scientists blocked the fat storage process, those sluggish microglia bounced back, ready once again to do their job of protecting neurons. This discovery reframes Alzheimer's not as a one-way path of decline, but as a condition where some of the brain's natural guardians have simply been weighed down. Microglia are usually the ultimate multitaskers. They clean up cellular trash, absorb misfolded proteins like amyloid beta, and keep the neural environment balanced. But under disease stress, they start hoarding fat droplets. Instead of burning fatty acids as energy, they convert them into long-term storage, filling up with lipid deposits until they can barely move. In effect, the immune system's sharpest defenders become bogged down, like firefighters stuck carrying sacks of cement while a fire rages around them. The fact that these changes are reversible is what makes the research so inspiring. Chopra's team traced the problem down to a specific enzyme, DGAT2, which catalyzes the last step of turning fatty acids into stored fat. For reasons still under investigation, this enzyme sticks around longer than it should, tipping microglia into fat-hoarding mode. By either inhibiting DGAT2's action or encouraging its degradation, scientists were able to lighten the fat burden, restore energy metabolism, and bring microglia back online. Suddenly, the cells weren't overwhelmed anymore. They were clearing amyloid plaques and keeping neurons healthy again. That shift has massive therapeutic implications. Instead of focusing only on clearing plaques and tangles directly, a strategy that has struggled for decades, researchers can now think about restoring the brain's own immune system to full strength. Supporting microglia metabolism could prove to be a gentler, more natural way of fighting the disease because it works with the body's built-in defenses rather than trying to chemically bulldoze the symptoms. It also highlights the brain as a dynamic system, one that can be coaxed back into balance instead of being written off as permanently broken. Even historically, this feels like a story coming full circle. When Alois Alzheimer first described the disease over a century ago, he noted not only plaques and tangles, but also cells packed with lipids. For years, that detail was brushed aside. Now, modern science is showing that he may have spotted one of the most important clues of all. Lipid droplets are not innocent bystanders. They may be the key players in weakening brain immunity. The most encouraging part is how this new lipid model of neurodegeneration expands the possibilities for prevention and treatment. If the problem is fat overload in microglia, then therapies aimed at lipid metabolism could help in multiple ways, slowing aging-related decline, reducing neuroinflammation, and even preventing some of the earliest triggers of Alzheimer's. The metaphor of a detox retreat for microglia isn't far off. Sometimes the brain just needs its cleanup crew to shed the extra baggage and get back in shape. So instead of a grim narrative where plaques always win, this research paints a more hopeful picture. Microglia aren't destroyed, they're burdened. Enzymes like DGAT2 aren't unstoppable, they can be tuned. Fat accumulation isn't irreversible, it can be cleared. That means Alzheimer's may not only be a disease of damage, but also one of imbalance, an imbalance that science is learning how to correct. For patients, families, and caregivers, that is an enormously positive step forward.